Christian, okay. Blissful X here says, Mehran, you missed my question. How can a woman trust her husband after he has cheated? Female, 45, Toronto. Oh, did I miss your question? Looks like I'm missing a bunch of questions. And Blissful said that is a great example about the lady with the green shirt from a distance. Yeah, right. Okay, let me see if I find your question. Anyhow, you've repeated it. Let me see if I find Anna's question. If I missed yours, I must have missed others as well. But I don't seem... I only see a hello from you, Blissful. That's all. There was a hello, and there was... here it is. Yeah, you're right. It says, if the man cheats, how can the woman trust him again? I see. Yeah. All right, we're back there. So Blissful says, Mehran, you missed my question. Okay, how can a woman trust her husband after he has cheated? Female, 45, Toronto. You can. It is possible. Unless the guy is a lazy, sleazy asshole, you can. Why? This could be a little bit tickle some of women differently, but it's the truth, is the way it is. Because women cannot continuously think of men as what they think, how they're put together, and as they think how they deal with life. We're just built differently. And I'm not saying some of the things that some men end up doing is good or right or condoned. No. But I'm just saying we are built differently. And if you want to understand or deal with something, you better get to know it as it is, not as you think it should be or it must be, because it's more reasonable to you and makes sense to be that way. You got to know how it is put together. Men are programmed for procreation. It's in their genes. Heterosexual male is in its genes to look for female, for procreation. He's not in control of it. He didn't get up one day and says, okay, I want to do this. No, it's in there. That's why heterosexual male thinks about sex all day long, many, many times during the day. And at young age, it could be every 5 seconds. So when that program is already there, and through time, history, and the laws and regulations and customs and religious beliefs and dogmas of the society and all these, or in the name of civilization, for the reasons that we consider that also to be civil or uncivil, men have been encouraged to forego that program in their genes, the instinct, the natural instinct program, to go after more women that they are accustomed to since the caveman time for procreation. Now they're taught, cultured to have one woman. And through legalities and conditioning and having to comply with certain traditions of a society and conditions for them to be with this one woman, they have to observe these rules that you have to be with one woman if you want to be with this woman. and they have complied. Again, because they want to be with a woman, they want to have sex. It's in their genes. And now they're told that if you want, you can only have one, and you should comply with the idea of having one if you want to have sex or be with a woman at all. That's the rule of the society. Now, it's more lenient today. I'm talking about maybe a few years back. Not way back in the caveman, but a few years back, on the way to be as civilized as we think we are today. So the man complied and have cultured itself and tried to condition himself and learn the idea, has been conditioned through whatever reasons, through the time and the communities and society they lived in, to accept this new conditioning. But that's contrary to his genes programming, his instinct, his logic has been convinced because of the legal pressures and customs and cultures and, you know, traditions and all that. He's been corralled into abiding by that rule of the society. And the fact that it's not civilized to have more wife than one, or more sex other than with your wife, because you're now in a contract, and these are all the reasons for it, plus the fact that the society will frown upon you. So the man wants to be civilized because everybody wants to comply, to be advanced and better and grow and be unified with the law of the land and be a good citizen. And that was the way that one could be part of the good citizens of that society, to comply with the laws. And one of the laws was this: thou shalt not adultery. So they accepted. But this acceptance is that they accepted this on behalf of their genes. They have no control on that. They accept it and they try their best. And they do. Most definitely, he loves you, not that woman that he cheated on. That was part of the program in his genes, that he couldn't get away. Not that he didn't want to, he preferred not to, but it wasn't his choice because it wasn't a logical thing. We're beginning to learn and put that conditioning more and more, become more focused on it, and be able to be more civilized and, you know, abide by that tradition and rule and so on. But once in a while, it is possible for some glitches in the marriage due to desire and ego and fear and all kinds. We can go on for days about this subject, what fear has to do with it when the man goes and cheats on his wife, what desire, what ego has to do with it, what other elements are involved that these things happen. Because I'm talking about the fact about the man, because man already has this program in his genes to look for female, for procreation. It's not like he doesn't understand he should be abiding by this wonderful tradition of one man, one woman. But it's not something that he has a lot to do with it, other than forcing himself to control that urge. But intending to control that urge doesn't mean that the urge is gone. That's still in his genes. And when something goes wrong because of the ego differences, consciousness differences, the contradictions or divisions and conflicts that comes up between the two couples, he may fall back into finding refuge in what takes him away from all these challenges and thoughts and problems and discussions, to the place where he would have no responsibility, no thinking, no problems, none exist, not even he would be aware of his existence, which is the time of sex, which he becomes one with the nature and has got no understanding of any problem in his life, and he would have no understanding and alertness of himself, and there is nothing even in existence at that moment, but yet everything is perfect. no problems. That's the time of climax. And he flies to that cheating, not because of that girl. He's searching for that moment and the place where there's no trouble. He can't find it anywhere. They find it in drugs. Some idiots who fall for that trap. Or they find it in positive things. Sex. I'm calling it positive for what it is, not that what he did was positive. So for him, it was escape from his problems, not a preference over you to that woman, that sex. That sex was not a preference, a sign of preference or decision of the girl over you. Was his escape through the only thing that he knows in his jinn by instinct that will take him out of whatever it is that he was feeling at that time of his life. Fear, age, ego, problems, challenges, salvation. Not the girl, the actual feeling of sex happened to be that girl. So, as much as we want to be civilized, we can't do anything about the urge. That's there. You can legalize it, illegalize it, press it, culturalize it, through tradition, frown upon it, make it a dogma, ban it. That's in the gene for procreation. Nature has made men want to pursue women for procreation. Without that program, there would be no more human beings. And that program is there. Now you want to contain it to only one woman? Well, we have. But we also can't hold the dam to hold all the water. Sometimes there would be little holes, leaks. It has to let that pressure out. It's possible. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not encouraging it, condoning it, but I'm saying that's the fact that happens. But when you understand why it happens, where it comes, you understand that it's not his choice to cheat on you necessarily, other than they're just assholes who do that just by nature, by design. But the one who does that once in a while, or once, you have to understand what happens. It's not the girl that they cheated you with. It's not a preference over you. Is what they're following, their instinct and the programming in their genes, that it takes the best of them because of what they're trying to escape from or deal with. And the only way they know is through that moment of nothing exists and everything is perfect, not because of the girl, but because of the emotions that arrives at. Which means if you guys try to bond on consciousness level, which I have a video that I hope that I would eventually make it, because I already have put the contents together. It's going to talk about how to bond on consciousness level. And if you guys do that more, it will become more powerful for him to rely on that connection to get to where he wants to get, the feeling of contentment, freedom, safety, psychological security, which is the actual motivation for that what he did. Nothing to do with you. So the trust is possible because that wasn't to demean you, that wasn't to betray you, that was for him to seek psychological security, to escape from where his shortcomings in life and his fears are taken over him. And that is the extent of what I can describe to you. And I hope that would be something for a woman to be able to understand. As much as I know difficult it is to comprehension of it because of its interpretation of it in your mind. If you don't look at it through the right lens, you will see it as very negative, very bad, and a representation of the personality and the emotion and interest and respect of the man towards you. Not always. All right. Having said that, let's... Blissful says, are you saying it is something to overlook since the man could not stop himself? It's not just the man could not stop himself to overlook it, to understand it. Everybody gets offended when that happens. It's hard to forgive it because it has a direct effect on your ego and your image of yourself in your own mind. Because you think that, oh, I was not good enough. She was better than me. That's what you interpreted. And it's hard to overlook that if you interpret it that way. But if you focus on the reasons, then you wouldn't look. Look, if you have no money and your children are hungry and you go steal a loaf of bread, the bread maker may not be able to forget that or forgive that because he lost some money there. But you're not a thief. There was a reason there. Hard to overlook it, but it's not hard to understand it. There's a difference there. So, as hard as it is to overlook it because you have the element of ego in you as well, and rightfully so. But if you understand it, then you kind of, we can maybe come up with this anecdote. Kind of. It's not a direct relationship, but kind of. Just to make it a little bit fun. This turtle and the scorpion are in front of the river. And the scorpion says, hey, listen, let me go on top of your shell. And you go through the river and cross us both the other side. He says, well, what? Why? You're gonna sting me? He says, no, I'll be drowned myself. Turtle seems reasonable, okay. So the scorpion goes on top of the turtle and they, trying to cross the river, ferocious river. Right in the middle of the river, the scorpion sting him. Sting the turtle. And the turtle says, what, are you crazy? Why you killed me? Well, I'm taking you to the other side. We're both going to drown. You're going to drown too. He says, I can't help it. That's my nature. So, it comes in different versions, but this is one version. So it's not that there was any logic to it. There was any preference to it. It was all illogical. It was wrong thing to do. Definitely. Especially with the way that we have now been conditioned and learned about new civilized way of thinking, so to speak. But that's the nature of the beast. Not good or bad, but that's what has populated this world when it was put together. And the same programming gene for its populating, continuous populating, is there. The only thing that's changed is all these laws and regulations has corralled him into this. By laws and regulations, don't do that. But his genes and instinct hasn't changed, can't change by piece of tradition or legalities. But what you need, if you understand this, then you know that the act that was been committed was not a reflection on the love for you or the importance that you have, or how gracious you've been, or what kind of woman you've been, what kind of wife you've been to him. It's unfortunate, as much as it is most of the time controlled, but it's the nature of the scorpion, which is possible. Not saying it in all cases, but it is possible. So if you look at it that way, then you may find a way to understand it. Maybe not forgive it, but to understand it. That's all I have to say about that. Blissful. All right. Blissful says, "Oh, I'm the turtle." Lol, thank you, Mehran. Yeah, you're the turtle. And you can save him or drown him too, but because you like to live, you will save him too. Come on, get over it, Bliss. Well, you want to, what? Somebody else? And how well you know this person? Yeah, it's all physical. Let go your ego and get beyond the physical. Face the things. It'll be easy. You'll find the real value. But don't hold it over his head. Because again, the egos come into the picture. Either understand it, let go, or don't. Not in the middle. All right.